It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The phone rang and it was Regina. And she said, you know, I just heard on KMOX that there are 5 sisters in Monrovia who are missing. She said, do you think that could be our sisters? I said, Regina, they are our sisters, because I had been there in the summer before, and I knew who was there. I hung up and I called out here. The provincial lived out here at the time, and that was Millie, Mildred Goes. And I told her, and then she started calling the State Department. And so then they called back and said the sisters were in their convent. There was no problem. They were not missing. I don't know how they ever determined that, because they were all dead by that time.
The Daughters of the Blood of Christ are a group of religious women. We're an international community. We were founded in Italy by a woman named Maria de Matias. And when she began her ministry, she saw the need to educate young girls in Italy at the time, always under the charism of the blood of Christ.
We're sort of just a bunch of good women doing all kinds of good stuff. I think that's how I would describe us, because we do the things that need to be done.
We are a group of women who are called together, who I've joined together to be of service in the church.
Certainly it means to be dedicated to God and the works of God on this earth. So, and it's a life of prayer, but it's a life of work, of mission. That might be teaching, that might be nursing, that might be doing what people think of as social work. It's really a two-sided. It's a dedication to God, but it's also a dedication to God's people.
We just run the gamut of all kinds of, and we have people who work with the very poor in Bolivia and in Guatemala. So part of our charism is to meet the needs of the people, looking especially at the poorest people that are around.
I belong to a group of people who can make a difference in the world. You know, when you're by yourself, you can do a lot of things, but when you have a whole group of people behind you, together we can do a lot. Individual, it doesn't make any difference how old we are either, because, you know, we just keep on going.
Shirley Colmer to Elizabeth Colmer, September 1st, 1991. Maybe I'll go for a swim at the beach and dinner at the beach house. I'll have to see if I can manage. It's a busy time now, but one must grab opportunity when it comes. Remember, always give in to temptation. It may never come again.
They're really a good bunch and an interesting bunch. Well, there was Shirley, my sister. Shirley was into everything. She was really a live wire. She became provincial of the order, and she really had a zeal about her. She really wanted to do things like go to Liberia and serve there. She had a PhD in mathematics, and it was in theoretical math. It was a deep subject. She taught at the St. Louis U for about 10 years, and then she realized she had gone to Rome with the provincial. and they decided to stop at Liberia and see the sisters. And when she was there, she realized there was a college there. She could teach mathematics, and they needed teachers. So she came home and she applied for a Fulbright. So that's what she went over on a Fulbright. She had it for 2 years, and then she was called here to be provincial, which she really regretted, but she did it because she was asked to do it. So she was here for 5 years, then she went back. What she really wanted to do was what she did in Liberia, serve the poor. So she was mostly interested in teacher education over there. She never quite accomplished that because of the war and all of that. But now there is a teacher education program over there. So when I heard that, I thought, well, it's happened. So.
Barbara Ann Mutra to George Westrick family. Greetings with love for Blessed Christmas and Joyous New Year. This will be one of my happiest Christmases here, as I plan to celebrate with 500 displaced people and many also from the villages around Clay that I ministered to before the war. Some will have to walk 15 miles or so to reach the mission. After Mass, we will have a nice meal of soup and rice together, and I will have some candy treats for all, thanks to you. This will be so special because last year they were cooking grass for soup and had to hide in the bush for their security. I realize now why God sent me back. God bless. Love you all. Sister Barbara Ann.
Barbara Ann was unique in all the world. She had a mindset.
And she was a go-getter. She knew if she wanted some, if something was going to happen, she wanted it, she's going to fire away and do it.
She had been in Vietnam with Catholic Relief Services before that, before she went to, I think she wanted to go from Vietnam to Liberia without even coming home. So it's like a waste of time to come to the States and then go. But she just had so much energy.
She loved babies, and babies were her, she would do anything for a baby. In fact, she would, they could wake her up in the middle of the night. Some of these people would travel 8 hours by foot to bring their baby to the clinic.
I don't know how many kids are called Barbara Ann, and there's some that are named Sister Barbara Ann. So she was very close to the people.
She was extremely committed religious, loved the people of Liberia. I'd say she did over and more and stretched her energy to the very end.
She had clinic hours up to 4:30, I think, in the afternoon, or 4 o'clock. And she would do her work over in the clinic then, and she didn't want anybody else coming in. But the parents caught on that if they had a sick baby, then she would take them. So what they did is, like if Mama was sick, she would bring this baby who was not sick, and she would pinch the baby to make it squeal. And so Barbara would examine the little baby, and then and the mother would say, oh, by the way, I'm sick too. Or she would be coughing or something, and she would take care of him. And Barbara caught on to it, but she went ahead and did it anyway.
Yeah, she was a good woman, what can I say?
I'm here to tell you a little bit about the ASC Aspirancy. And I want to introduce to you the 3 young ladies who are in our Aspirancy. We have Teresa Clay, who is in the 12th grade. We have Delele Julia Wia, who is in the 10th grade. And we have Ramona Chebley, who is also in the 10th grade.
Joel Colmer to M. Allen Worth, April 17th, 1992. Dear Alan, how do? It's a very nice quiet day here. I'm holding a retreat for the aspirants, and I think the grace of God is with all of us. Hope you like the card. The man who did this work is very talented. God is so good. He allows some people to shine through all this ugliness. I send love and a peace that only a risen Lord can send through this message. Love, Joelle.
Blessed be the blood of Jesus Christ. Alleluia, alleluia. Great is the power of his blood.
Joelle did church work and working with children. She was very artistic, and so she taught. She was a teacher, but she had a gentleness about her that. Because I think it came from her artistic ability.
Some of the girls on the Thursday do what we call back to the school.
She would do anything for you.
we decided to take in young women to join us. And so she kind of took charge of those young girls. But she was good. She was good with the kids, and she was just happy-go-lucky, a lot. She was good to have to live with.
She was just a sweet girl. She really was.
Kathleen McGuire to Elizabeth Colmer, October 29th, 1991. Dear Elizabeth, thanks so much for your letter. Yes, I think I'm doing fine. My spirits and my body fare well here as long as I respect these tiny ants with the powerful bite. I'm working on 2 projects at the diocesan level. A Catholic counseling committee to take the healing work throughout the diocese, and I'm writing a peace and justice curriculum for Catholic schools, grades K through 12. It will emphasize personal responsibility and community building. I also want to do promotion of women work when I can see how to move into it. Love, Kathleen.
Kathleen had a real gift. In the 1980s, we declared sanctuary for people from Guatemala. And she really led that process, and it was a process so that she brought the whole community along. It wasn't like a straight up and down vote. It was, I can approve of this or I can't. On a scale of 3 or 4, I can say yes to it. So she really tried to get everybody's feelings about it. And we finally declared sanctuary. So ultimately, we took them to Canada because Canada would take them. But Kathleen was big on that sort of thing. She was very capable at it.
She's a social justice person through and through. I remember her at one point trying to get supplies to Guatemala, so I think she and a friend gathered up computers, all kinds of things, loaded them in a van or a bus, and drove it down to Guatemala from Illinois. It's like, okay. She's very, very involved, very dedicated, gifted person.
Sister Kathleen McGuire, blessed be the work you started. You are the first example to follow. Say the students of McGuire. As we pass through the slummy road, we should have the rest of who perform. We regard the suffering when true. I bet it's up on you, so just so McGuire.
Agnes Miller to Angelita Myerscough, December 13th, 1991. Dear Angie, Merry Christmas. Thank you for the lovely birthday message. It was a nice day. My students sang to me as I walked into the room. I have been doing healing and transformation workshops with the students at St. Michael's High School. In the evaluations, the students have said these help them to deal with some of the trauma of the war. We are fine. Happy holidays. Love, Agnes.
Well, Agnes was a nurse, and she also liked working with women. Agnes was a teacher originally. At the time, the order was thinking of taking over a hospital, and the provincial was asking us if we wanted to be a nurse. So she ended up going to nursing school, and I think she always preferred the teaching. She also is very interested in development of women, literacy especially.
She taught women reading and writing and that kind of thing.
She was a quieter kind of person, but had her own mind.
And if I close my eyes, I can see it as yesterday, that we heard there was trouble and they were caught. I was working with the MSF at the time, so I said to, can I borrow one of your ambulances? But I got one of my drivers. So we went into this ambulance to go across to see if we could reach their house. And we started to go in, and then we came across Ecomog, who stopped us. And they said, no, you can't go. There's too much shooting inside. So we stayed at this gas station, and that day the priest came out, and I said to them, Father, where are the sisters? And he said he sent word for them, but he hasn't seen them. And the next day we couldn't even reach to the gas station that we reached the first day. Eckenmar got pushed back, so we went as far as we could. We saw people coming from St. Anthony's Parish, and I said to all of them as they were coming, where are the sisters? Where are the sisters? Nobody had seen the sisters. Third day we went down, we couldn't even reach again to where we had the day before. And by that day, my heart was just in trepidation. But that last day we went down, there was a lot of activity, and one of the commanders says, okay, they were going to take a convoy in. If we wanted to, it was up to ourselves, we could follow. And we went in and we reached, the convoy went as far as that first day to that gas station, which was maybe at the most 5 blocks away around the corner to where they lived. And at that particular point again, just so much shooting and gunfire. And from that day forward, we couldn't even make it into, turning off the road, we couldn't make it as far as we did the first day. So, I mean, early on, and again, I had gone back to the embassy to say, look, these sisters are in trouble. It was pity, because my feeling is they kind of thought, well, you know, we'll walk out like we did last time through the other side. That's because everybody was coming. Why they didn't come, God only knows.
Agnes's sister, Sister Marianne, she was knocking at my door at 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And she said, when I opened the door, she looked at me and she said, you're supposed to call Sister Mildred. And I said, she was crying. And I said, so what's happened? She said, just call her. And I said, what's happened? And she said, they're all dead.
Those same 5 women could have gone to any country. They could have remained working in southern Illinois. They would have done the exact same things that they were doing in Liberia. They would have been teaching. They would have been working in hospitals or clinics. The work that they were doing in Liberia was not any different than anything else that any of our other sisters did. And the sacrifice that they gave was a sacrifice for them, for their families, for all of our community, to be with the people of Liberia. So when people ask, you know, how can you forgive us for what happened to your sisters? It was never a question. It was not that the people set out to do this or to get rid of us in some way. We were there with people who were suffering through the same thing. This happened to all of your people. It happened to 5 of our women. You've given so much more than we would have ever given. But that's also who we are and what we're about. We're there to be with people, whether you're in southern Illinois or whether you're in Liberia or Guatemala or Bolivia. You're there to be with people, and we're there to talk about, to be witness to that love that God is for all of us. That's what we do. That's what we're about.
Old and torn, faded gray, for the pages where kept secrets stay. Voices echo in my ears, some sing endlessly while others hide in fear. I am here in the sun.
And I just want to say thank you. Without them, I would not get my nursing degree. Without them, I would not be here to even tell my story.
And I will forever remain grateful because they made me into the beautiful young woman I am today.
Every day, the sister play a big role in my life every day. We have had the opportunity to have many, many mothers. because of their doors. We have many mothers.
Treasure